like Morgan Freeman said it great, you know, that where he gets on, he goes, I don't want to have a black history month. You know, he goes, I want to have American history. I'm an American. Why am I looking at you as a Jewish person or me as, why do you have to look at me as a black person? Why do you have to refer to people as black or white? Or what? It's just, and I've said that my whole life. I've never understood, you know, I've never understood racism. I've just never understood it.
Racism is something we made. Everybody keeps saying somebody needs to do something, and the somebody is me. Each one of us needs to do something. We're all U.S. citizens. We should take pride in that above everything else. That is our common bond. We're all human beings. You know, I am absolutely amazed at human beings and what we were able to accomplish.
Yeah.
Because I look around like nothing was here before. Mm-hmm. And we made all of this. And if we disappeared today, all of this would become irrelevant.
Yep.
It's only here because of us.
Universally relative, you know, it's
right?
all relative.
And I'm like, wow, that just baffles me.
Well, doesn't that make, I'm glad you said that, because doesn't that make you wonder about the concept of faith? Like, just faith. You gotta, like, I'm Christian, so I believe in God, but I've never met him that I can remember, you know, like I don't have this knowledge. And some people will say, well, your testimony is your knowledge or your whatever, these feelings. Well, I don't necessarily look at it that way. I look at life like, well, there's a scripture in the Bible that says faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And I just think they meant not yet seen, you know? Yeah. It's the substance of what you're hoping for. Like, I hope to see my dad again. He was one of my heroes of my whole life. He's just an amazing person. I was blessed. I never went without an incredible example. Yeah. So I was blessed in that aspect, and I can't wait to see him. I can't wait. My grandparents and friends and family. I hope to see. Like, I'd love to see you on the other side, you know. And that's so. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet seen. And so, like, tomorrow, it doesn't matter. You don't have a guarantee your next breath. You could just drop. You had no control for whatever, and what else? And I have these conversations with my kids all the time, and just go, I wish I had this perspective that I'm sharing with you. I wish I had it at your age. I wish somebody would have given me that, you know, after my frontal lobe connected, about 25 probably. Yeah. I would have understood what you're talking about, but nobody brought that to my attention. And I never got that deep in my thinking until maybe my late 30s, 40s. And then it just changed my whole life, you know? So it just faith, simple faith in something much bigger than you. I don't have to define God. I don't think God's insecure. He doesn't care what you believe he is, or it, or, you know, her, doesn't matter.
I am one of the most, what I call spiritual people I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not religious per se.
Yeah.
It's not that I haven't enjoyed different religions throughout my years.
Yeah.
And went and participated and
sure.
Loved what I got and hopefully what I was able to contribute, if anything, right? But through experience, through making a lot of bad choices, I mean, there was a lot of pain and stuff, as I mentioned, from the abandonment issues and stuff. So I did a pretty good job of beating myself up for a long time and making a bunch of bad decisions. And there was points in time, I mean, I didn't expect to live long enough to have gray hair, you know? And I put myself in positions to where I shouldn't be here.
Sure.
And the more I made it through, the stronger.
Yeah, like I have something's keeping me here because I didn't want to be here.
The stronger my faith got, you know?
That's awesome.
And I got to the point then where I started praying and saying, hey, you know, please don't let that be in vain. Please use me
exactly
as a conduit to to touch people.
Wow.
I've had some crazy cool spiritual experiences because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've shared it with enough people that when they would happen and the people present, I could be like, hey, is this really happening? Or Rich lost his mind, and they're like, no, bro, that just happened. Again, I was walking around in jail one day, and thank God for earplugs and books is all I can say. Because if it wasn't for that, I'd probably still be there, for some stupid shit, because there's a bunch of knuckleheads there.
Oh, yeah.
And I shouldn't be there. And so, I'm walking around one day and I look over and somebody had stuck this book over there to return it, and it said Conversations with God. I'm like, what the hell is this? So I picked it up to make fun of it. I'm like, seriously, who the hell is this? And they barely feed you enough to keep you alive. So once they'd lock you up at like 8 o'clock at night, you'd eat some ramen noodles or something to keep yourself going. And then I would read until they would turn the lights out, And so I got to where I was reading a chapter out of that book, and then I would read a chapter out of the scriptures afterwards. And I was amazed at how much that book reaffirmed things that I believed in my life, and even put some clarity on some ideas that I had for a long time, where it was actually a little better than what I had thought. Mm-hmm. And then it was even backed up by the scriptures.
Yeah.
And one of the things it kind of said in there, and the Bible teaches us, right, is we are made in thine image. Mm-hmm. We are just as he is.
Yep.
Well, that's it's hard to fathom, right? I mean,
yeah.
Well, I'm not like God. I mean,
yep.
I couldn't create everything, could I?
You're a creator, man.
I don't know, could we?
Sky's the limit.
And so, God's saying this, and this book is kind of cool because it's not written in chapters. It's written like an instant message. Like he's asking questions, God's answering.
Yeah.
And he's like, so why don't you do something to prove to everybody? And he said, well, like what? I mean, what could I do that there's not going to be a naysayer? Well, why don't you cure world hunger? He said, well, have you not been listening? World hunger is only there because enough people want it to be there. If you guys didn't want it to be there, it wouldn't be there.
So true. Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
He says, what happens when you have a thought? He's like, well, a thought is energy. It just keeps going. And that's why like-minded people will be drawn together. And as much as I slept in school, right, I wasn't your best student, I do tend to remember that if you get enough energy moving together, it creates matter, it creates a whole.
Yeah.
And what that tells me is that if we were to come together and put our energy into creating what we could be, rather than fighting the old, look out, brother, because
it's true.
Things are going to get beautiful.
Well, that's how I man, there's nothing you've said that I don't completely agree with and resonate with very naturally, because with the God issue, I don't, I have a belief. I absolutely, without question, have no question about whether there's deity, God. I'm more agnostic, if you want to get really technical, but I just choose to be Christian because there's no better story that I hope is true. There's not a better story for me. If there's a better story than that, I'll hope for that. I've never heard of one. I've never heard of a. I love the story of a savior and all this stuff, and being able to become like God, and because I want my kids to be better than me, so I can imagine an almighty that wants me to even be better than him, and so that's why I'm Christian. That's why I believe that. But do I know anything? I really don't. I do know when I feel prompted and I feel a spiritual like punch to my head and said, go here. I'll literally hear words, or I'll hear them in here. I'll feel them, and I'll know it is better more than I know them touching this right here, you know. And those are the things. Those are the kind of things that prompt me to do things. I mean, I'm sitting here with you. I don't even really know why, right?
Right.
We just said, let's hop together. Let's sit down and meet each other. But I do believe that you can, just by the smallest changes of thoughts and energy, you can collaborate and resonate with other people with that same energy and change, make things change, you know, make the change that you hope for. And none of it happens without the higher power, nothing. And so my whole life revolves around faith in everything, every day, every minute of every day, every month, every year, you know. It's not about me. I'm old and ugly. I don't care, you know, just keep pressing on.
We're all energy.
Yep.
If you will actually stop and smell the roses, then you will definitely feel better.
Yeah.
You know, just because of the amount of energy and stuff that they're putting off. But people don't allow themselves to even see that.
Yeah.
They don't even think about it.
Even
won't
when
stop long
right when
enough.
it's right there.
Yeah.
Presenting its opportunity, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw your thing through politics, you know. I was looking at what, you know, with all the crazy just madness going on in our country today. And I see through, at least I believe I see through it I feel like I'm the only one in the world that's seeing through it, which I know I'm not, but I can see through it so clearly. And I talk to people, and I'm just like, this isn't a political party issue. This isn't a party issue. The parties are put together to keep us conflicting and keep us from what you're talking about right now. It's numbing the soul. It's numbing our ability to see deeply enough, or even care enough to see deeply enough. It's just numbing us spiritually, and it's bringing us down really fast. And our mission, like, we have that resolving suicide, addiction, and depression.
Right. That
hashtag. My daughter's. It was suicide, addiction, and depression, and my daughter said, "Well, that's like, instead of saying resolving suicide, addiction, and depression, why don't you just do a hashtag resolving sad?" And I was like, well, it's not always just sad. And she said, no, it's the acronym. My 16-year-old daughter at the time.
Right.
I was like, that's perfect, man. That just fell into place. I was like, that's true. And we can just hashtag it and be the first and try to create something organic and natural. And, you know, it's not about money. It's not about politics. It's nothing. It's about finding ways to unite, you know, finding reasons for everyone to start pulling their heads out.
Right.
So we can start resonating at the same vibration and the same levels. Because if we are gonna find resolve in this country and keep the country a country at all, it's either gonna happen a really bad way or a really good way. It's like black or white.
Exactly.
And I'm one that I can take care of myself. I'm not worried about that. I have zero fear of any of it. But I have a lot of concern for those people who aren't awakened to innocent, good people, you know. And I'm like, we need to find ways to resolve the issues and find paths to unity, more unification as people, because we're really one big energy.
But I had a thought as you said what you said, and I don't think this is what you meant to do, but I want to ask you, right? Mm-hmm. Me and my addiction problem, right? It'd be really easy for me to be like, well, that's because of this or that. But I had to get to the point where I pointed the finger at me before I got any better.
Oh yeah,
I had to take that control back, right?
You better acknowledge it.
So when I ask about how could we bring Americans together, what could we do, right? And you're like, I don't know, because there's a lot of ignorance out there. I mean, people this, that, and the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
That could be offensive to people.
You'd
say, hey,
offensive.
How it is for me, right?
Right.
So I want to ask you a different question. What are we ignorant about?
I've made it a habit, and I'm always working on it to not talk about things that I can't back up, and that I can't, and I acknowledge if I don't know something, I'm just going to tell you I have no idea. but it doesn't. But I'll say it doesn't feel right, or it does feel right. I'll have to look into that, and that's the problem. I mean, even in social media, the fact check Snopes, it's a liberal run, controlled thing that's completely.
That's going to be my hardest job in order to succeed with this, is to not get biased one way or another.
Well, and
to not allow that.
I don't know. I don't know how you do that.
And the only way I really do it, the only way I know, is to keep it I comments, feeling comments.
Yeah.
What can I do? What could I do different? What
Yeah.
Be,
Fine. And that's
and all of a sudden conversations change.
Yeah, and I think those are the things where I'm bringing up an invitation to talk with the people, other people that don't see things the way we see them, and me back the same equally.
I want us
Let's
to
find
stop.
reasons and ways and conduit situations to create more reasons to unity, and with the goal in mind always to find bridges to actually unify with. Yeah. But it's extremely
There's
hard because I'm a conservative
there's
mindset.
my side.
Yeah, right.
And then the truth is in the middle.
Right.
Regardless of facts.
Yeah.
Regardless of facts.
Yeah.
There's your side and my side and the truth in the middle. And I can only see so far.
Yeah.
It's like the suicide thing, right? It's like, God, I empathize, but I have no idea how you feel. I've never been that.
Yeah, it's like the gay issue. I mean, I went down a few years ago to the gay pride parade. I've got my best friend from childhood is gay today. He's got 4 kids and he's gay, and I love him to death. I don't care if he's gay. I don't care if you think you're a refrigerator. I don't care. I really don't.
That
has nothing to do with me. But I don't understand it. And I still think that my right, just like their right to be free in that, what I might think, I have the right to think you're nuts. I do have the fundamental right to believe that you're mentally ill. I could be wrong and I could be right. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I have the right to think the way I want. This is what these are the things I want to keep in America. I want to keep balance in the fundamental freedoms that we are blessed to have in this part of the world, right?
Amen.
And so if I think if I attack you because I think that you're gay and it's wrong and I don't believe it in my religion or whatever it is, I have the KK. I'll fight for the KKK's right to hate everybody. Just don't touch them. Right? I'll fight for the Black Panthers to be racist and hate us too. It doesn't. It's like, I just wish people would have that. If you fight for that across the board equally, and you can get that common sense back into society, that stuff it just kind of goes away by nature, because if you let your light so shine that they can see your good light, your good works and glorify, God. And those are the things that I kind of focus on.
I watched a
internally.
podcast with Michael Beckwith and Lewis Howes. Amazing if you haven't seen it. And I just love how eloquent Michael Beckwith was when he was describing somebody that had, been awakened and transformed. Mm-hmm. He's like, because once you get there, it doesn't even matter the vehicle that got you there.
No,
right? It might have been Christianity,
I agree.
right?
Yeah.
But once I've got it, right, truly have it, then I no longer feel the need to even participate in that.
Right.
And or to force that on anybody else. I can see
went
the
through
beauty
that.
in
Exactly.
not only where I'm at, but where everybody else is at on their path.
Right.
So whether it's a Black Panther or it's gay.
Yeah, you don't feel that insecurity about it anymore. It's gone.
I'm not threatened by that.
Yeah,
anymore.
right. Yeah, but you were. You've been to the where you were like, would you say and you get to this. That's where I feel like as I get older, it's cool that you say that, because it's true that I feel like, man, that would have, even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that would have thrown me off. But the older I get and the more I really listen, it doesn't take my own convictions away with what I resonate with, like with certain issues, but it makes me it makes me just kind of be able to sit back a little bit, listen deeper, and go, yeah, I'm not mad at these people that I feel like are trying to take over our government. Because I see it as clear as day that people are literally trying to take over our government and crash it and open the borders and destroy America. I really genuinely, literally see that happening. I don't know how people can't see that happening, but I'm not offended by it. I'm gonna stick to my convictions, and I'm gonna, like, if somebody breaks into my house, the last thing I want to do is hurt anyone or kill anyone. So the best advice would be just don't do that.
Don't do it.
And if you do, there's not going to be one bit of nervousness, nothing.
No.
I'm going to take care of business, and it's me or you, and so.
But there's a difference, see, and that's again fear.
Yeah.
As human beings, right? That I can't let you be a Black Panther. I can't let you be a KKK because it might affect me.
Yeah, it's
It only affects me if I allow it to.
In the name of preemptive measures,
But
really.
if I expect for me and my children to be able to wake up in a free country and have all the freedoms and liberties that I've become accustomed to,
Yep.
then I have to be willing to fight for you to have it too.
Amen. Exactly.
I don't care what
Exactly.
shade. I don't care what religion. I don't care whether you're a good person or bad person.
Yep.
You
Me
know,
too.
You've
got the freedom to do whatever you want.
As much about your right as my right, and that's what got me involved here. See, Colin Kaepernick sat down, and I'm here to tell you, I don't agree with all of Colin Kaepernick's beliefs. Right?
No, I think he had the
I
right.
don't.
I think he has the right to do whatever he wants to do. But we have the right to say, man, it's disrespectful in my opinion, and I don't like it. And I think and I can feel like, you know what, you by what I witness in you and how I perceive it, it's you sound ungrateful. You sound those are my genuine feelings. But I still fight for his right to do whatever he wants to do. It's sticky. That's a hard subject.
But what I looked at after I got done being offended, which I do, I'm a hothead. You know what I mean? I'm a passionate guy. I can't cut it on and off, right?
Yeah.
So if something like comes up, I mean, I'm probably going to get defensive, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also, I like to think, intelligent enough guy that once I calm down, I'm going to think through what decisions I've made and what happened, and if I
Look
made
at
a
things
mistake,
in a different light. Yeah.
if I look at it and I say, hey, you need to, make an amends. You need to at least clean up your side of something. It doesn't matter about anybody else. You need to
This is between
do
you
your
and
work,
God,
right?
Yeah.
You got to go to bed with a clear conscience tonight.
Yeah.
Then I'm man enough to call back and say, hey, look,
Absolutely.
I responded poorly.
Yep.
I've
I've been there a million times and I've done that.
right?
Yep.
And so when I looked at that situation after the fact, I'm like, wait a minute. That kid worked his ass off to get to where he was at.
He did.
He gave that career up for this. What could mean so much to him that he would give that away? And then I started to look at it differently.
Yep.
And then I saw a meme that said, pro-black is not anti-white. I'm like, whoa, never thought about it like that.
Right.
How come I'm getting defensive? How come I feel like I need to defend myself? Maybe I should look at it again. And then the more I looked at it, and then you listen to podcasts with Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union and Oprah. And Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union are talking about how they have to tell their kids, because you're black, you better act a certain way or you could get shot today. And I'm like, holy shit. In America,
Well, and do you
two
think
people that are Americans that were born here just like me, had children just like me, and they fear that because their child is darker than mine, that they need to act differently.
It's a real issue, but
That's a problem.
But flip the coin. It happens on the other side of the coin too. If you're
Why, though?
I know. That's what
Wow.
that's the frustrating part of it all.
Let me think about it, right?
Yeah.
Starbucks. How's
Yeah.
that incident go down? And Starbucks shuts down all their American stores and does a training for 3 hours to try and train their people.
Yeah.
Where'd they hire those people?
It starts in the home. It starts
Out
at
of the pool that we gave them.
Yeah.
They're American citizens. We did the shitty job of educating those people.
Yep.
And you're talking about American history. I mean, if you look back and when it's like, okay, well then we'll give you the right to vote, and you can use the restroom with us, and you can right,
Yeah.
and figure we fixed the problem.
It doesn't.
When
feel
actually what happened was once that happened, all the powers that be that you're kind of talking about actually put out, educational material and all sorts of things out of spite to kind of slow that process down and to kind of really drive home their points and views. I think to fix the problem, it ain't just, hey, let's pass some law or whatever, right?
No, it'll never.
We need to
that's
have
never
a
the-
concerted educational effort to teach equality. That I don't care whether
all
somebody's
sides.
light or dark. I don't
Yeah.
care whether somebody's gay or straight. I don't
Yeah.
care whether somebody's a woman or a man.
I don't either. Yeah, I just don't even know why it's even why. Like Morgan Freeman said it great. That where he gets on, he goes, I don't want to have a Black History Month. He goes, I want to have American history. I'm an American. I don't. Why am I looking at you as a Jewish person or me as? Why do you have to look at me as a black person? Why do you have to refer to people as black or white? Or what? It's just and I've said that my whole life. I've never understood. I've never understood racism. I've just never understood it. Just because, if somebody says something about like when we grew up, I grew up with, and I had black friends, Polynesian friends, Asian friends, Native American friends. I had a real good diversity of friends from all cultures, and I never cared. But we still recognize that you're different than me. Like some of them were fatter than me, some of them were skinnier than me, some were stronger, some were weaker. No. Who cares about? Why don't we have a unequal physical stature issue in this country than a racist issue? What's the difference? It's an excuse to argue and fight. It is bullshit. It really.
It's one of the silliest things.
It's the biggest facade that's being orchestrated, and I think that's why it's so obvious to me. And I think politically speaking, and there is an agenda. There's a pretty dark agenda on this planet that's pushing conflict, and they're orchestrating it systematically and intelligently on us. It really is.
Think about it like this: why do we group things? We group them to break them down and to make them manageable.
Yeah.
Right? If it's too big, I can't manage it, so I'll break it down into groups.
Do one thing at a time.
And then we can manage it better, right?
Yeah.
So if I can put you in this group and you in that group, well then I've already, up my odds right there. Because now I can treat you separately, right?
It's true, yeah. So the people who have fought against the race issue in the country, right? Since Martin Luther King and before and everything, and Malcolm X and the segregationists, it was all about desegregation, right? No more segregation.
Yes.
Who in the country today? What if you're looking at race, which I think is stupid, but if you're going to insist on making race an issue, then let's play the game. What race card is being played when it comes to trying to and political card? Which side of the political facade of the political party system is perpetuating and totally orchestrating segregation today? It's the left, without question, without hesitation. It is. I'm nothing. I'm just an American guy noticing what's going on, right? So that's being pushed on us today.
I don't want this to be political.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be the death of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. No, I agree, and
But I'm American.
Yeah.
And you want to know how I felt about it? I'll tell you. You know,
Yeah.
out of the choices we had, I thought he was the better choice.
Yeah.
You know, bottom line.
Yeah.
And I love the idea that I'm going to drain the swamp.
Yeah. It just needed it. It's
And I
not a
think
political thing. It's not a party thing.
to a certain extent, he did some of that. Maybe to the best of his ability.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And who in the hell am I to judge him?
Exactly. And
You know what I mean? I haven't been there, right?
The point can be brought up without.
But I want to say this, right? Because I had high hopes for him. I'm like, this damn guy, you know, he doesn't need their damn money. He's the scariest thing since Kennedy,
Yep.
right? He could actually do some shit. My personal feelings now is that he's done a pretty good job business-wise. However, his insecurities and his shortcomings, just like mine and yours, we all have them, right? Got the best of him. That they pushed his buttons and he lost track of what the hell he could have done had he not started responding to him. See,
Yeah.
we always have a choice.
Yeah.
People can say because you're with the right that you're racist, that you're this, that, whatever the hell they want to say.
Well,
But
they
the shoe
put
only
me in the
fits
right because I'm not
if
even in.
I put my foot in it.
I'm just an American, and I'm just looking at common sense. So
I get
they
that.
can put me in the right,
But-
just like they think they'll say you're putting me in the left, and I'm saying, well, I don't know where else to put you because you're preaching. We want America to become a socialist country. Well, there's nowhere else to be but on the left. There's nowhere else to be, and so I don't care where people put me. And I get your message and your spirit here, and I respect it 100%. And I think that what you're doing here is with the spirit to find unity, and I support it 100%, and I always will. And even you and I, no two people have to see everything alike. Nobody. That's the beautiful part of it. That's what I want to. That's
I'll
what
tell
I
you a
want to
funny
preserve,
tattoo story.
and we can still move forward.
Right?
Yeah.
The tattoo artist did my work. I had one guy do it, and there was still some work to be done. You know, it wasn't what I wanted, and whatever. So I went to another guy, and I convinced him to take me on to kind of fix it and redo some stuff. And I'd only met the guy once. I came to find the owner. He wasn't there. I'd seen this guy's work. I'm like, hey, me and you, let's schedule. So I schedule it, and I show up, and the tattoo artist before, he liked to listen to his, Howard Stern and stuff. So I'd bring my earbuds and he'd bring his, and we'd just put our stuff on. I'd listen to podcasts, he'd listen to his stuff, and he'd tattoo away, right? So I bring my stuff, and I'm putting it in there, and this guy's wanting to talk. And there's nobody else in there but us. Everybody's leaving. And he just starts Trump bashing. And I'm like listening, and he's saying all sorts of crazy stuff, that I knew better. And finally, after like 30, 40 minutes of him tattooing on my back, I'd had enough. And I'm like, well, who in the hell were you going to choose otherwise? F and Hillary, rah, rah. And next thing you know, me and him are F you.
As he's working on
And
it.
he's tattooing on my back.
That's a dangerous move. That's a dangerous move.
And I'm
brother.
just laying there, and I'm thinking, I sure hope this guy's professional, because if I get up and I got penises on my back, I'm liable to kill him in here. You know what I mean? And of course, we've grown to be really close friends over the past 2 years that he's done my work,
That's great. He's a great artist. Man.
Because I respect everybody's point of view. I will keep people with different points of view on my social media on different things, because I feel like I need it. You know, that if I only look at my own stuff, then I'm no better than anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do it until I can't stand the nonstop bantering. Then I just get rid of my own. I mean, my best friend that I was talking to you about. I mean, he used to be on a Republican committee, all this stuff before he came out gay and everything, and I wasn't even Republican back then. I was just like, I'm not gonna buy into any of it. This is in high school, and he hates Trump with everything, but he can't tell me one reason why, other than a blanket statement that's just written for him from the media. He doesn't know, and he doesn't listen to the news, doesn't listen to it, that has no knowledge, is coming from literally zero information, and I can't get through to him. And I finally said, look, Facebook's nothing to me. Whether it's everything, but it's nothing. It's great,
Right.
but I took you out. I defriended you. So don't get butthurt over that. It's a social media thing. I just don't want to see your posts anymore.
Right.
Because you're talking out of your butt. You know it. He even admits it, and I can't deal with it. So I just don't want to hear it. So, but we still go to lunch. I still help him with his websites and his businesses, and I do help him when I can as a buddy. And
Trump's our president.
Yep.
I think he's done some amazing work.
Yeah.
I think that, I love how he went in there and shook up that old good buddy system.
Yeah.
And
He's still in the process.
It's still a process. He's still.
I think it's going to be after him, whether he does another 4 years or not. Yeah. I think it's a long-term thing. I'm hoping we can avoid a war, like inside here, inside this country.
What I'm really sad about is how he stooped down, how he let him push his buttons and he reacted. He could have been bigger than that.
On all of them. So many occasions.
Every damn one. Every freaking tweet.
He's got to get off Twitter.
Every freaking tweet.
But what I'm saying is, go read that book, and this he's doing things that seem like he's a recluse by design. The guy he knows what he's doing.
He knows negotiating.
Every step he's doing, even though it's saying, even though you may think you screwed up there, that was a calculated choice. And that's what I respect about him. I don't agree with all of them at all. I don't. I look at his tweets and sometimes and I'm just like I can't go there. I can't even listen to it. But later, those tweets have turned into something that just angled out somebody that shouldn't be.
Brilliant.
He is.
He's
at that
people
level.
that are in his ear telling him he thinks that was the right move to make.
I don't think they're even saying that until like months later, where he can go back and go, "I told you."
But
he's an anomaly. He is. Whether you like him or hate him, history will prove this out at some point. Yeah, and you respect him. I respected Obama. I couldn't stand him. I called him my president.
News sit there and say that he made us look bad, and I'm like, well, what the hell do you call what you're doing? You're the one blasting that shit all over, saying that how are other countries going to feel about us that he made us look bad.
I just want to know.
You're the one echoing that message.
I want to know when the news turned into an opinion outfit. What? We grew up with news. They reported the news next. Yeah. This is what happened next, right? Yeah. You remember the news? Yeah. Local and national. It used to just be boom, boom, boom. The rocket launched. There was a bank robbery. There's a fire. Next story. But now it's just a big good old boy network that we have to deal with all these opinions on all sides, including Fox.
It's war.
So we've been in a civil intellectual war for the entire time. I think it started years before Trump, but I don't want it to go to blows. I don't want it to go to blows, and I really genuinely feel like we're really close. Something's going to break out, and
I absolutely feel it.
I hate feeling that way. It's not a good feeling, because then I think about, like, we started this conversation about innocent people, and they're the ones that are not going to win this thing if it goes to blows, because they're not ready. The people who are ready are the people they hate. And they're the one pushing the wrong buttons, and I don't want it to go there.
It's not that China, not that Russia, not that whoever's going to be able to take us, right? Because we weren't able to defend ourselves. It's because we were so divided amongst ourselves that we didn't defend ourselves.
It's going to happen inside here, and I can feel it, man.
That's my fear.
I'm with you.
That's my fear.
We need to figure out how to
be
a part of the solution, right?
7.6 billion people in the world. and we've only got 327 million of us.
Yep.
We are outnumbered drastically.
That's ridiculous.
So the idea that we feel that it's in our best interest to be divided as a country scares the shit out of me.
It should, and it should scare all of us. That's the only fear we should actually have, right? Really. I agree with you. And so I think that is why we're talking. I think that if we could come around to some kind of solution and help each other, I see two things. I see actual racism, which to me is either just blatant evil and hate from either side of black, white, Asian, whatever. But the issue is black, white in this country. At least that's what the focus is. And it's either absolute ignorance and how you were brought up, where you were brought up, no education, and then like you were mentioning before, and then there's the perception, the insistence on people being racist when they're actually literally not. Many people believe in their heart, apparently, I don't even know if they do, that someone like me with my views, I'm an automatic racist. That's why I think that people may be right when they say you can't end racism, because you can't even explain what racism is. You can't even get to the bottom of what the definition is within itself. That's the evil part of it for me, man. Like how do you get rid of something you can't even define?
And that's why I have to ask the question.
Yeah.
Because
it's frustrating.
Anybody that would say you can't end it, hasn't clearly defined it.
And I don't think anyone's defined with it.
You could if you had. Does that make sense?
I don't think there is a definition.
I think today it has evolved. It's not about black and white anymore. It's about hate.
It is.
Okay.
And hate's always based off fear and ignorance.
I'm going to ask you another question.
Okay.
What's the worst sin? What is the worst sin?
In God's eyes?
Or in Christians' eyes?
Just, what is the worst sin? Murder? Just hate,
I was asked this question while I was being given a psychological evaluation and an IQ test, trying to decide whether I should be in jail or prison. And of course, after evaluating me, they're like, well, gosh, this guy needs a drug and alcohol plan and back on the streets. I could have told you that, but, thanks for the lesson.
I was telling you that.
But when they asked me that question, I had to really think about it. I'm like, wow. And what I said was judgment. And I was good with that answer for a long time, especially after I got done with that evaluation and listening to those other guys and their life and what they've been through to cause them to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I felt even stronger about it by the time I left there 60 days later, right? But I Googled it a few months ago. And when I Googled it, it said pride.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Which is in line, I think, with judgment.
Yep.
So if you think about the kind of person that could take another person's life, if it wasn't out of protection, it would have definitely been because I thought I was worthy enough prideful enough that I had that, I could do that, or I could get away with it, or I should be able to, right? Something. But even if I'm sitting there and I'm looking at my views and looking down on somebody else's for whatever reason,
it's really
slippery slope.
Yeah, you really can't judge anyone. That's a tricky thing because
some of the most judgmental people you will ever meet.
I mean, you can surfacely judge them like in a court of law and do something, but on a moral scale, on a moral level, you don't know what anyone's been through, so you technically, literally can't make a worthy judgment of somebody because you don't have all the facts.
Some of the most righteous.
I mean, even Christ said, don't judge, love your enemy, let me deal with that. you know, and I do my very best.
Well, we all do, but we all do it.
We all do. Every one of us. There's not a person in the world who doesn't
Every
judge people.
stinking one of us. And all I'm saying is, can't we just be as Christ-like as we make ourselves out
Absolutely.
to be? And do the very first thing, and give everybody the free will to make your choice. And just allow me to make mine, and live by the law of the land, and
as far as you can go. Yeah, I just think we all have so many flaws, including judging, you know, and including, you know,
I watched an Oprah
emotionally
special
being attached.
right after the election. Everything was so tense, you know, people hating Trump, mad because they won the election, stole the election, blah blah blah, right? And she put these people in Detroit, I think it was, you know, a pretty depressed area at the time, and put them in a room together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the liberals and the right together, and they come in that room, and it was hot, and the tension was hot, and they started talking, and by the time they got done, after they had got to talking to each other for a while and listening to each other and listening to each other's point of view, some of them's point of view softened and changed a little bit.
Yep.
And they ended up finding mutual ground, that they ended up seeing the individual and
Mm-hmm.
the person and the reason why they were so passionate about their beliefs, and they ended up friends, you know.
Well,
by
it's
the
like
end of it.
it's like in the you know, half my friends today were brawls when I was younger, you know, and they're my brothers, you know. That's your
friend.
whole best friend. Yeah. And
How'd you guys meet?
Yeah. Basement fight, 84. You know, like you're like, yeah, it's true. It's I love what you're doing, man. I really genuinely appreciate what you're doing and what you're focused on and stuff. I mean, it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. And I think there's a lot of us out there that are kind of feeling it and have been for a while. You've probably been pulled this way for a long time, like, and not knowing exactly what you should be doing or how you should be doing it, but you're following, you're doing it.
I feel lost. I
Me
don't
too.
feel like I know
Every
what I'm
day.
doing, but I am loving it, and I am passionate about it, and I plan on just following it as long as I can, you know, or until my wife tells me I have to quit.
Exactly.
And dude, I need help. I need people to help me. I need people that know more about this than I do, that can say,
man.
hey, dude, you're beating your head against the wall. You need to go this direction. I need
Let's
people
do
that
it.
can maybe introduce me to somebody that I don't know that might be able to help me, because
Absolutely, man. My database is open to you, man. 100%.
my goal is
And
this. I want to raise enough money doing this that I can work on equality and mental health issues for the rest of my life.
well, and that's why I reached out from my end to you, was the resolving sad thing. That was what was resonating with me, and your balance was the balance that I felt in what you were doing. Just totally resonated with the resolving sad, and I'm a conservative mindset that loves everybody. I don't care, but I just who I am. But I'm not what a lot of the other side of the political facade sees me as. I'm just like them, you know. I'm just like, I want to promote more common sense, and I want to save some lives along the way. And that's why we came up with our own CBD company. We have a hemp CBD company called Phyloa. It's a Samoan word, you know. Samoan word, do it means do it.
Does that mean do it?
Phyloa means do it, and it's because we love the Polynesian culture. My wife has 2 Samoan brothers, and you know, I grew up from birth with just tons of amazing people in my life, and
Some of the
half
best
them
people
are
you ever meet,
Polynesian.
huh?
They're the most beautiful, awesome, freaking spirited people in the world. They are. They're the kindest heart, and they're the people you don't want to cross. And it's exactly what we're
What's
talking about.
funny is they're
The
so
kind of-
big,
Yeah.
right? They're scary.
Oh, they're
You
the
know?
toughest people I've ever met in my life. They're, you know, but they're the most soft-hearted too. So we branded our, you know, we're building a brand. We want to build a brand that we can push and then also help perpetuate through the brand a movement that's truly saving people's lives. We know that the CBD brings people, their mind and their entire system to a calm and collected state. And we know that our products save lives already. We know that it's changed people from pulling a trigger to just thinking things through, just a little drop into the tongue. And so we've put all of our resources, like every last cent and penny and time and effort on top of our company and what we do. We're a service-oriented company. We produce corporate industrial videos and aerial cinematography and provide locations for film in Utah, and then we do events on for people like Damon John from Shark Tank, and we do all these different things. But now we have a product. We've never had a product. We don't know what to do with it, so we're kind of doing the same thing you're doing. We want to turn that product into supporting the movement of resolving SAD. Resolving suicide, addiction, and depression, and that's all at epidemic proportions today.
Absolutely.
And that's our focus, and our goal is to create more ways to get more distribute. The more we can sell, the more we can help, and the more we can fund. And so that's all we're in the process of figuring that out right now. But with our resources, with what we do, we'll help you in any way. I can guarantee we have open doors.
Work together, because I am wholeheartedly in agreement with you.
Yeah. Good.
I think
Me too.
that suicide rates are at an epidemic limit for a number of reasons. Number one, we want to give people a pill and an easy fix.
Yeah,
right.
And that cure
and
PTSD,
of course,
opiate
the pharmaceutical
addictions.
market and all the money that's being made off of them poisoning us, right? So that, I think, was part of it. But I saw just the other day that the number one touch drug in America was cannabis. And so we're starting to see those numbers go down, especially in states there where they've legalized it. Suicide rates have dropped dramatically. Right?
Well, and the misinformation with cannabis too. I want to address this because the problem, like I didn't know this until 3 years ago. The problem with cannabis is people think cannabis, marijuana, weed, hemp, it's all the same thing, and it's not. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Hemp is a completely different plant than marijuana. It's a completely different plant. I don't know if you even knew that. I didn't know that until 3 years ago. We have been told that it's the same stuff.
Right.
Cannabis is a family of plants. The female plant is the one with THC, psychoactive stuff with the big buds. It's the hairy evil plant, marijuana, weed. Hemp is an industrial plant. It's 7 feet tall. It's like bamboo. Doesn't have the THC. You could smoke it until the sun comes down. You're not going to get high.
Yeah.
We only use hemp and take the cannabinoids out, the full spectrum of cannabinoids out, so we can help people in their PTSD and their anxiety and their panic and all that stuff, and cancers and all these different things. So the same families that I was talking about running Hollywood, they own pharma too, big pharma. They're all the major stockholders in big pharma.
Exactly.
Do the math. That's all you have to do.
Well, that, and then of course our government's efforts to make it illegal, to put out the information of how bad it is.
They're all in bed.
So now at this point, it could be the best thing in the world for us. But we have to psychologically overcome all the bad programming,
Right.
to even open up our eyes or mind to the possible benefits of something that we've been told our whole life was bad for us.
Yep. Exactly.
And that,
Deprogram.
I believe, is going to be the hardest thing for people to overcome, was the training, the improper, poor training that we had been subject to for so many years.
Well, just get the real information. Just get the real information. Like marijuana, people still think marijuana is harmless. It's not. The psychoactive agents in marijuana, the THC, create psychosis and schizophrenia and things. They know it without question. Too much of it. So and then smaller amounts, it in older people, it doesn't affect. It can actually increase appetite, and so there are but just why not
Cancer patients.
why not just give all the information so people can make their own choices?
Exactly.
And I think that's kind of what you're saying anyway.
Well, it's the same thing with racism. Believe it or not,
It is.
it was
I agree.
all the poor education or no education or education with a slant to it to try and mitigate responsibility. You know what I mean? To try and not take the blame and or put it off, not take the responsibility to fix it.
Yeah.
You know, when you have like the National Enquirer coming out and saying, "Yeah, we apologize for 40 years of
just
bad, you know, information against, you know, minority groups." And it's like, thank you. Yeah. That's all we need to do as America is quit saying, "Hey, this ain't a problem. Let's just address it. We could fix it like that."
Yeah.
If we would just quit saying, "I don't see it."
Learn to naturally let the walls fall down on their own. Let's just pull them down between all the issues and just have some common sense.
Same thing, right?
Yep.
Where's the problem with suicide? Is it that there's something wrong with you because you thought that way?
No, they don't value their own lives in the first place. These kids.
When we're thinking that, why am I thinking? What's the matter with me? I must be something's wrong with me. And the problem is we're not talking to somebody.
Yeah.
And we don't want to talk to somebody because we're afraid they're going to judge us,
well,
and they're not going to like us anymore, or they're going to see that we've got a chink in our armor, right?
Yeah.
We've got, you know, a school with 2,000 kids in it and 2 counselors.
Yeah.
And we're wondering why we're trying to fix adults.
Yeah.
We don't have the skill sets to deal with all the information we're getting today.
Well, and you have to teach things at a home level instead of a government level, in my opinion. That's my opinion. We need to motivate people. You can't force them.
At a human level.
At a human level. But start it in the home. You know.
It starts in the home. That's for sure.
It's the most fundamental, credible level of the issues that we're talking about, and so that's what I like to focus on, promoting. You know, good parenting. I've been through my own divorce, unforeseen, unpredicted, unwanted. You know, the whole thing, and watching what these kids are going through. So, but
well, I appreciate you coming by and talking to me.
Yeah, man.
I'm excited about the opportunity to work together.
Me too.
I'm really excited to get involved with some of your stuff and the suicide prevention, and I would love to.
Well, any way we can help you, and we'd love to coordinate efforts and whatever we can do, man. I'm all in, all for it. I love what you're doing, man. This is a cool surprise.
Thank you.
I love this.
I appreciate it. Love you, buddy.
You too. You too.